Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is your moment. I'm Katarina Miletic, and you are listening to the podcast that will challenge you to think with your soul and believe that your only power is inside you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, you are here. Yes,
Yes, I am.
I'm happy to see you. So, how you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm really happy to see you too. I'm really great. I'm actually really great. Had a great workout yesterday, and yeah, focusing on a few different things at the same time, but exciting things coming in. So that's really great.
So brilliant. Ah,
Yeah.
I like your background.
Thanks. I actually struggled, because I don't know, sometimes it show itself like reverse. So I struggled a bit to get it and to put it in the right place, but it's actually in the right order right now. So
Yes, it
I'm
is.
pretty happy with it.
To me, without mastering the art of self, you can't succeed at anything else in life. You're always going to feel like you're falling short of something, right?
Yes.
So here are specific things, like I can teach somebody to paint, with aquarelle colors, and you can teach somebody marketing, but if they don't connect with the inner guidance, with that navigation that we have inside us, if they don't know how to tune into that, what good is all the skills? And you see people going far in life but don't feel fulfilled, right?
Yes, because they are just going through emotions. Like they've heard, like, okay, this is the thing I need to do, or like, okay, I know I have to do that, but deep inside of them, they don't know why I actually have to do that. And that's something really important, is that you have to find a deep connection with the why. Like when you start going into personal development, you hear all the time, like, yeah, you gotta know the why, you gotta know why you're doing this. And like, is the kind of things that you're like, okay, got it, next advice, next tips, okay. But when you start to hear it a few times, you're like, wait a minute, there is something there. And for me, it's that when you realize that it always goes back to that, because when you don't feel like you want to do something, and it's happening all day long. You got a lot of things. You don't want to go to that person. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to do that rep. You don't want to do that set. Whatever you're doing, whatever is the thing that's challenging for you right now, it's because you have not a deep enough connection with the why. If you have realized deep inside of you, okay, I'm doing this for that reason, and that reason should be something that's mattering for you, like a lot, like something you can't, exactly, something that you can't live without.
Yes,
something that you can't live without. And when you connect to that, all of a sudden, when you realize, okay, that thing that's boring as fuck that I don't want to do, I don't want to do it. If I may be able to force myself a few times doing that, but without any like,
I think it's boring. It's just that they don't have the practice in this. Is it boring to sit with yourself in silence?
No.
And look within?
And that's the part.
Yes.
That's where it's going to be interesting, because when you realize that that boring thing actually helps you to do that thing that you love to do, when you make the connection, that's the connection with the why we are talking about here.
Exactly.
When you're able to connect everything you do,
yes,
you live a life of purpose, because you connect with something with your purpose.
Totally.
The thing is, it's a daily work. Some days I'm totally off with that. Some days I'm like, whoa, like disconnected, like totally disconnected. And it happens. Sometimes it happens for a week. Sometimes it happens for a month. But you have to realize it. You have to make sure you design everything around that purpose, so that each activity is like, okay.
It reminds you quickly.
Yeah, reminds you, like, okay, I'm waking up early. And because I'm waking up early, why? I don't like to do that. I prefer sleeping in, but reminds me that, okay, I'm doing this for that. Okay. And then it carries on to the rest of your day. It's really important to start early in the day.
Yeah, she said, can you really be happy every day of your life? I said, yep, I guarantee you can be happy.
Yes, you can.
Irrelevant.
And it's not doing the things that you think are going to make you happy.
Totally.
It's not, for example, like, watching TV all day, relaxing.
I haven't watched.
It's not that.
15 years.
Like, it's not about that. And when you realize that relaxed time, maybe you think you need it, but you don't really need it that much. It's oftentimes, hormones and your brain kind of playing with you, because all those things, social media and things like that, are really like created to control your emotions, your brain, and how you work. They really are doing a great job with that. So you got to be aware of that. And the only way I believe people can really be happy, and I'm still working on that a lot, is focusing on the purpose and what you do for accomplishing that purpose. Even if you don't do things you like at the moment.
Yes.
Like, for example, you're like, oh man, I got 500 calls today to do. I've got I got cold calls to do. I'm gonna get like hang up on things like that. Don't seem like really like pleasant thing to do. But again, when you realize that you are doing this for that thing that you really love, that the reason you're actually doing it, when you realize that, all of a sudden it becomes just a step. And when you look after that, you're like, man, I realized that I really like doing this because it helps me getting the results I wanted.
That's brilliant. If you came in this life to be a Mother Teresa, and then you are trying to become, let's say, Warren Buffett, it's not going to work, because your mission is different in this life, right?
Yep.
And you have to align with that mission. I say you can create anything, but if you're trying to create something you were not born to create, you're not going to succeed.
Yes, you're right. And actually that happens to me, like, like my path. I went through high school. I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do my own thing. So I started following like mentors and things like that. And I understood the concepts that you needed to apply to be successful. And so I kind of like reverse engineered how they worked, and I applied that in my life. But at that time, I didn't realize why I was doing it. And so I didn't have pretty much any results at all, because I was like, man, this is hard. And actually I was like, man, in myself, like it didn't like voiced itself into like something I can understand. But I was like, man, I don't understand why I'm not doing the things. I know how to do it. But I didn't know why I was doing it. And I was like, man, maybe I don't have the right purpose. So sometimes you like to feel like, oh, that's cool. That person is doing something cool. I want to do the same thing as them. But the thing is, it's not going to work because it's their purpose. It's not yours.
Correct.
And that's really the path I was going through. And that's until like, and it's like really recent, like maybe say 1-2 months ago, that I really understood that why thing. And I'm not like really like, I didn't dial it up really a lot, but I can feel why it's such a huge difference maker. And I believe that's maybe the one and only difference maker that you can have. Because I don't believe you can do it without that. I went like 2 years trying to do things and, having some results and then falling back to normal, because I wasn't on the same constant line of this is why I'm doing this and I'm staying on that path. I didn't have that. And now I have to connect with that thing that's constant. That's basically the reason why I'm here. And adding, like, pushing away all the bad stuff. That's what I'm doing like this week and the last few weeks, like pushing all the bad stuff, the bad habits that I acquired being the person I was before, and only being that thing. So I'm like in that deeply right now.
Good, because that thing is more fulfilling. That's the only thing you
Yes.
need to worry about. The stuff that isn't good for you will fall off. So you don't even have to apply effort pushing this habit away, because that doesn't work. That
Exactly.
by pushing it away, you just attract more of that shit, right?
Yeah.
You don't want that. But if you replace it with something that really fills you with joy, that's the way. That's the way. And that's the only way that can navigate you in life, is if you are here on that quest for joy. You can go all the way to the top and still feel miserable and kill yourself, right? Because if you identify with wrong things. And I'm so happy that you're identifying with your why, because that's it. It's just like we're calling it different name. You called it
Exactly.
why, and I'm calling it the inner guidance. That's the
Exactly. You can call it inner guidance, purpose, why. The thing is that you have to understand exactly what is the thing that makes you want to go further. That's something I really want to point out. It's
brilliant.
like when you talked about joy, something that creates joy, it doesn't mean instant satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really important. And I'm pointing it out because
this is a real joy, what I'm talking about.
Exactly. But well, you got to point it out, because that's really something I realized recently, the difference. And I'm pointing it out for the people listening or watching.
Thank you for that.
No problem. The thing is, like, for example, I may spend like 2 or 3 hours playing video games. Okay. I feel okay, like happy. I'm feeling, I don't want to say I'm feeling great, because after that, that you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You feel like shit. You're like in your bed, in your room, you're like, and you feel like, man, plus you don't want to feel like you want to do something else.
Yes.
You have that feeling like, man, I know I got that thing to do, but I don't want to do it. But even if I know that's the thing I should do, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm talking about? So joy doesn't equal instant satisfaction. It's doing the things, whether you like them or not, that are going to create that alignment with you and what you want to do. And you got to figure that out. Maybe you're going to know. It's not something like you're like, okay, take a piece of paper and write it out. Oh, damn, I found it. Maybe it's going to take a time, but if you persevere, if you stay focused on finding that thing, on being like in an environment that creates that thing, and it's going to change. It's going to change through your life. But the thing is that if you stay in an environment when you focus on finding that, eliminating the other distractions, you have a much higher chance of finding it.
Incredible insights. And thank you so much for pointing that out, because I just assumed that people know what I know, because I've been like this all my life, right?
Exactly. But I got to clarify, because that's something I realized. It's like if you have, sometimes I felt like, you have two different persons inside of you. The person that's like, okay, I have that belief and I understand that way. And then there isn't that other person coming here like, hey man, that's the way to do that. And and I feel like for people it's kind of the same thing until they really realize what that thing means. Actually, you got to really explain it like 20, 40, or 100 and 1,000 times, so they can really get inside of them with their own language when they're like, oh, I got it.
They have to come to it through their own experience.
Exactly.
Yes, it's living it that is going to prove the words. The words don't matter, the words are really irrelevant. It just comes out through me this way and through you that way. But when you connect with your joy in that way, you will know it. Like it's a feeling unlike anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm like using different ways to explain the thing, when I'm imagining it, when I'm like talking about it, because I'm like, I explained that concept, like, I think like 4 or 5 different ways, because I understand like some people are going to get the concept when I'm talking about it differently, So that's why I'm really doing it, because I understand that it took me like thousands of times of hearing the same thing to actually get it and to actually realize like, wait a minute, that's it. I get it. You have to get confidence. And I was actually talking with that with a guy I just met at a friend's birthday, and it was like for I don't remember how exactly, but I had like I talked English, because like I like to show off and be like, hey, I talk English and like annoy people because I exactly know that they don't understand a word of what I'm saying. Like I oftentimes I end up like talking to one or two people like, oh, okay, I kind of understand what you mean, but that guy was like, yeah, I've got a test to pass to get to a school, and I want to know how you can get better English. Tell me how. And one of the things that a lot of them say again, that mentality, I'm not that good at English, I'm not great, but I was like, man, look around. There were like 15, 17 people. None of them understand a word of what I'm saying. And you are talking to me. We're having a conversation in English.
Yep.
And I repeated to him that, hey man, you're great. You're doing way better than anybody. And he actually was pretty good. Like for real. He just have like, the classical French accent. You know what I mean? But
so much.
that he had that accent, of course, but like even though I don't like it, because I always have that image of my friends like in high school, where his name was Theo, and he was like so bad, and I remember him like reading text like, today we are going to talk about like, so that's why he's throwing me off. But I know a lot of people like it, and that's actually like not a problem at all.
No.
Actually, a lot of people think it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I don't, but
it goes on that scale, from like very ooh la la when you hear somebody with that accent, or to like, you cringe like.
It's that kind of thing. Yeah, either you love it, or either you hate it. But there's no middle ground. I totally get you on that. And the thing is, you have to understand that and that's what I talked in the beginning, because a lot of things that we're talking about, the conversation you're having right now, actually bond to each other. Because when you realize that you have that self-belief that you're not good at something, for example, in that case, it really prevented the guy to talk in English. And I was like, man, like I said him like a few times, man, we're having a conversation, you're actually doing good, okay, great things. And sometimes he say words of vocabulary I didn't even know. I was like, man, I didn't know that. You told me something. And then he was like, huh. And he actually spoke like pretty much to everybody in English all the rest of the evening, even if nobody understood him, but he was having fun,
Yes.
And that's actually the thing. And you have to realize that. And that's why one of the things that we do in marketing, it's changing the beliefs of the people. Absolutely. Because if you don't do that, you can have the much amazing thing that you want to share with them. You can have the best thing ever, the best product, the best offer ever, the best podcast ever, whatever you have. If you don't change their false beliefs first, it's going to go through one ear and get out from the other, because they don't believe it's going to work.
It's going to stay locked inside.
Exactly. So one of the first thing you got to do is to change their self-beliefs.
Yes.
And that's really something that we learn. Now the other question is how you do that. No, that's one of my secrets. No, but I'm happy to share. I'm happy to share with it. I'm happy to share with people.
Stay tuned, because we are preparing something amazing for them, right? So there will be a lot more coming up from on the line of this conversation that we are having here, right? So we're going to give you opportunity to go deeper, and we will explore with you.
Oh yeah, I love to go deep. I love to do that.
Yeah, me too. Like there's no fear of depth.
No. Oh no, never too deep. Never. The thing is, like, you have to be confident that you can talk about them. That's actually one of the things I talk about again in an English conversation. The guy didn't believe that he was able to talk English, therefore he was not talking English. But when he got that, man, I can talk English, he pretty much only did that the rest of the evening.
That's it. When he just, the littlest shift in the mindset transformed that evening and showed him that he can have a lot more confidence in what he already knows. And goodness knows where he can just take it further from that. You might have inspired something amazing.
Exactly, because he was doing some engineer stuff and he has to take a test because engineers, like, there are engineers all around the world and they have to have a common language, and that language is English, of course.
Yes.
It's English. So the thing is, he had to take that test, and I was like, man, you really have to believe this. And you see that when it happens to people, you don't see it happen often because that's pretty something that's really profound. But you see it, they're like, and they are like start to like test a few things, they're like, and they like go a little bit like, I'm gonna throw that phrase, and then they take more confidence again and again and again, and they want more and more, and then you see them like going fully at that thing that they were really like, I don't want to go there,
I love
so
that.
you really have to figure that out. You really have to figure that out, and whatever that thing is to you, you have like multiple areas of your life that you have to figure out that thing, but there is always something that's blocked in your head. Always. And the thing is that first you have to realize what it is, because I see a lot of times that happening. Like, for example, yesterday I was doing a workout, and right now I'm in the kind of workouts when you do like one repetition and you go really heavy and you try to get it.
Yeah.
And I actually got a really funny video of me like passing out after I like, oh, and bomb falling aside because I went like really hard on it. But the thing was, oftentimes, like, for example, last cycle I ended up doing 90 kilograms on a bench press. I don't know what it is in pounds, but it must be.
No, I understand kilograms because I'm from Europe. So
okay, but do you know how to convert them? Because I know a lot of people actually for working with pounds. Yeah. How much should that be? 90 kilograms in pounds, like 200 or something?
Kilograms, yeah, it would be over 200. I'm guessing a 210 to 20 actually.
Yeah, exactly. 210 to 20. That was what I was thinking about. And that time I went like, I felt pretty confident. And last time I actually like passed it out under the bar and like ended up farting on me,
Yeah.
And that time I was like, man, 70, 85. I was like, man, I can do more. And I had to really, I had that mental block, like, man, remember, you didn't succeed last time when you tried to do that weight. And I had to like push that thing aside, like, shut the fuck up. Let me show you what I can do. And I did like actually 2 when I was not even capable to do 1 last time. But I'm sure that if I didn't spend the time to convince me, and it's really about convincing yourself that, okay, I can do that, actually. I can do that. And it's more like a battle on your head. Like, you feel like, man, and like, it's much more like a battle, like, be like, shut the fuck up. And you take that voice and you like crush it down.
How you talk to yourself, it matters so much.
Yeah.
You have to be
I'm getting into this and I
see
how it's powerful.
Yourself, right? The words you're saying, because the words themselves don't have the meaning, but you assign the meaning to them. So if you're talking to yourself and putting yourself down constantly, you're setting yourself up to fail. And you're going to prove to yourself that you can't do it because you keep on saying that you can't do it and you keep believing that you can't do it. And there is no way, even God in heaven cannot help you to change.
That's exactly that. I think I talked to you about that. It's a quote from Brennan Johnson. It's your thoughts equals what you say. Yep. What you say becomes what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy.
And that way your language, the way you speak to yourself, is your life. It's what you are living. So
exactly,
big thing.
So sometimes when you spot like like whether it's talking to yourself or doing certain things, when you spot something bad, you're like, oh wait a minute, I'm doing something bad here. Mm-hmm. What am I saying about that kind of actions? Then oftentimes you're going to realize that, oh, this is not the right thing I should say. Like, this is not helping me to actually fix that situation. Then you go deeper. You're like, hey, man, what am I thinking about that? Yes. And then you realize that going from there, it all goes down and gets you that action. For example, like if you're like, man,
because you got to be real, right? Because it doesn't work always from the first go. Sometimes you need to course correct and do it again and try again until
all the time. All the time. It's not going to be, okay, now you got the strategy and now it's going to work wonders for you. You really have to dial it up and find out how it applies to yourself and how you use it in your head. But the thing is, for example, like, let's say you're like, let's say, for example, like you got a business, you know, and it's not working really well. You know, you're self-employed and you're like, man, like you have the results in front of you, like, man, it's not working really well. But what are you saying right now? It's not working really well. But what are you thinking then? Maybe you think, man, I don't think it's going to work. And how do you believe that when you're thinking that, how do you think it's going to play out?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying because I know I'm that kind of people, you know, I'm realistic. I'm optimistic, but I'm also realistic. Absolutely. It's not like you're gonna say, okay, it's gonna work now, and now it's gonna work. Like, it's not about that. It's not like magical, like all little like ponies and like rainbows and sunshine. It's not about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm reassuring you. I personally don't believe in that. But the thing is that it's really something that works, because when you realize that your brain and the most powerful thing that you have is your mind, and I'm saying that because it's the most powerful thing that are blocking you are the beliefs that you got, whether good or bad.
You standing in your own way.
Exactly. So that's why when it goes from there and then you materialize into action, you have really powerful things going on. So that's why your thoughts are actually really important, because your mind is the most powerful tool you can get, and you don't get great results. Use your mind to change that thing. Is going to be the most powerful way you can impact and change the things that are going on in your life. Yes. Good or bad.
And you're going to change the whole trajectory.
Yes.
Because once you are on that path, you're going to stay on that path. Right? Mm-hmm. That's basically the winning formula right there.
Exactly. The thing is, like, and that's actually a great point I can make, is that when you get really into who you are and what your values are and what you want to share, you really attract the right people to your life. And that's really something incredible. Sometimes, like, for example, with you, actually, like, for real, when you realize how we met, like, you talk a certain way when you're a certain person, you know. Yes. Like you can see, for example, like you can see certain group of people, for example, like, you know, the gangsters, you got the pretty much the sports dudes, you know, like pretty much groups of people have their own language and their own ways to communicate. Like military people, I know as well, they have a really specific language, and when they spot each other, they're like, oh, this is my man, this is my girl, you know. You realize that. So that's something really important too, because when you realize who you are, you actually find more people that are like you, because they're like, oh, I know what's that way to talk actually means. Exactly. That's my boy, that's my man, you know.
Absolutely. But then you find in that person, because no meeting is accidental ever in this lifetime, and the messages work both ways. You have something to teach me and I have something to teach you. That's why we met.
Sure.
Well, yeah, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry for people who don't get that and who think that there is randomness in life. Nothing is random that you experience in your life. And the sooner you realize that nothing is random, and you realize your part that you are playing in that, then you can see how powerful you are.
Exactly. And what I see as that what you're saying, for me, what I would like say is that nothing happens randomly. You actually make things happen. It's not like things are like I would say things are like meant to be. Yeah. I don't believe that personally. What I believe is that things happen because you made them happen.
Exactly. And you can make them either on purpose, so deliberately being in this state of being will attract people like you who can communicate with the same language and get the higher message exchanged, or you can have a random by default you create. That means when it's a good day, you will attract good circumstances in your life. And when you're having a bad day, well, I don't need to tell you what you will attract.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. That doesn't only apply to people, that applies to anything else.
Absolutely. Applies to anything else. And it works like that. Like you can argue with it. Good luck. Like I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. But until you realize that this is how it works, that there's, you know, people are there so that you can hear a message that you need to hear. There is something there that life wants you to see.
Yes.
Really bright here.
Yeah.
Like brighter, like I'm looking, some things are glowing in my picture. And I chose the top because I thought it's going to be gray. I chose really bright colors, so apologies.
You're popping up, no problem. You're popping up from the background. That's great.
I'm like neon.
Actually, that goes really well with you. No problem with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes with personality. That's good. Just connecting with nature, going outside, not thinking what I need to do here, but getting myself in that state. Then coming back, writing, finishing whatever I need to finish here, creative inspiration, and then boom, I open my emails, my appointments, and all of that, and I can work till midnight pretty much, and not exhausted or anything. Because
you're on purpose.
Exactly. So good, and I'm so glad. Look at the sun. How lovely is that?
Yeah, me too. It's very sunny actually today.
Good day.
Yeah.
I think we brought our energy, has got something to do with this weather. It's not typical. We're supposed to have a great day, but not today.
Not really, actually. You know, south of France is pretty sunny, but sometimes got bad times. But like really today, it's like blue. Like the sky is blue. Not any like clouds or things like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Blue day.
Where are you? I didn't ask.
South of France, near Montpellier. So really like in the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow. A dream, surely.
Oh, that's a great place. Like I'm like, I would say like
up there.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I did grow up like in a little village that's like 6,000 inhabitants, like a really small village in the south of France. And then it's a great place here. Like a lot of people, like I've got Germans, British, people living in Paris coming down here to like spend the holidays, the summer holidays. So that's really the thing that's happening here. That's a place to be.
It's on my life list, you know.
And that's something I don't realize. Like, so that's something I'm like, man, I'm tired. I don't like to go to the sea that much. I'm like, I don't like that. But I when I hear people like, man,
yes,
like
you have it today. Yeah,
I want to go. It's like the people go living in the mountain, like, you can go skiing. I do skiing, like, and then you're like, man, I never saw snow. What is that?
Exactly. Are you ever you must be interested in other people and other cultures because you speak English so fluently, like it's amazing.
Yes, and that's for the people listening, that's really like not common at all in the French. Like French people are really, 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 really bad at talking about languages.
Bless.
Like,
I love French people, but yes, the accent is always strong, and it's maybe, is it because you started early? What's the secret? What's yours?
I think the secret is just I started early. When I was like, I believe in middle school, I was I was a good student, so I didn't have to work a lot to get good grades. And I was pretty okay at English, but for middle school student, like nothing exceptional. And I remember at the time I was really, really heavy into video games. I loved playing video games. But the thing was, oftentimes, I was playing the video games that like got out like not so long ago. You read the new video games. And the thing was, when you stop to search information in French, like, on YouTube,
Right.
like how to do that, the best thing or whatever. I didn't find a lot of really great information, and people were like pretty much boring. So I was like, because it's a video game and it was pretty much just the language and the vocabulary that changes, but not a lot. I'm just going to check it out in English. And so that's what I did. And I actually learned English that way, watching YouTube videos. And I think because I watched a lot of Americans, I took an American accent. That's the thing. But people are always like, man, because people actually want sometimes to talk more English, and they're like, how do you do that? How do you do that? And for example, other simple things to do, put your phone in that language. It's more like complicated, but you do little things like that over the day. And when all your routine is emerged, like I told you in the beginning with the purpose thing, when everything is emerged without even thinking about it, like it's just like, okay, it's there and you don't even think about it. When all of that is in your environment, you don't have any choice then to do or become that person that does those things,
Yes, absolutely. But you really gotta want it for yourself.
Yeah, actually, and also something that helps is actually having a reason why to do it. Like for me, I want to live in the United States later, and I'm doing a lot of business with English people, and I just like the way they're thinking. Like I talked about that with a guy I'm partnering with, and he also is talking business with English people. In America, is like, in France, what we really miss is that mentality, of if you work for it, you can have it. French don't really have the mentality. They're like, they're really skeptic into, they don't think there is a way sometimes, this is just the way it is. And they don't like, they don't want to fail because they don't think if they fail, they can find a way after that to get over and get a results, And that's something I'm trying to bring into the French, the mentality. That's why I'm standing out so much.
Yes. Important point. Yeah.
Totally.
You see, I just got distracted for a second. I see it says let's grow big together, but the big is small.
You're right. It's like I should make it like bigger than everything, like this, pretty much. Like let's grow big.
Yellow, and like
There is something wrong. There is something. Maybe I'm gonna do something like that.
Sorry, I mean, the design very, very. Yes.
There are things I can tweak it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna change it
down. Yeah, you need to turn it up.
Big, like in red, like big,
Well, yeah. Red can do, but I think green or yellow be better.
Yeah, I see a yellow. Yeah.